Silksong sings song good, but there is another game that silks my song harder. Let me explain. Blasphemous 2 is a game that is often buried under the ocean of Metroidvanias, and I don't think it quite gets the recognition it deserves. I feel like this game got buried under the shadow of Silksong's hype train, which I think is unfair because there's a lot that this game does that sets it apart from the others, and it all goes uncredited for. Let's start with the combat. Silksong gives you grace and agility, but Blasphemous 2 gives you power and diversity. Hornet is agile, elegant, but limited to her signature weapon, the needle and thread. All the attacks are based on momentum, downward strikes to pogo off of enemies or hazards, or combining dashes with slashing, and timed parries to deflect certain enemy attacks. The game also introduces certain build modifiers called crests, little badges that change how Hornet fights. It adds just enough diversity to make everything interesting, and it's less about complexity and more about cohesion, mastery over the mechanics. Whereas in Blasphemous 2, you play as the Penitent one, fighting against the Miracle, a supernatural force that acts as the world's god after the death of the High Worlds. And he's the shittiest god ever. He answers prayers but then inflicts eternal suffering and rot upon everyone who prayed for him. As a result, this entire world and its people's reality is warped into eternal grief and penance. We get the choice to fight with 3 distinct weapons, unlike Silksong with just 1 weapon. The first is Ruego al Alba, the Sacred Sword. You've got the basic thrusts and the arc swings, but on top of that, you have a special move, a downward plunge that smashes barriers and a charged attack that unleashes a wave of divine energy. And then you have Veredicto, the Blazing Censer, and my personal favorite. It's the slowest weapon of the bunch, but it's got so much range and covers more ground than any of the other weapons. I think it's very beginner friendly, and plus it's just fun to whack everyone with this. Its main elemental damage is fire, and a charge attack releases a ring of flame around the player, or hurls a fire blast. But not just that. This weapon is also used to interact with the world's objects, strike bells or torches to open paths in the world. And then, last but not least, you have Sarmento and Centella, Rapier and Dagger, the fastest weapon set of the bunch, lightning quick slashes and combos. It's got annoyingly short range but super high in DPS, although it does require a lot of skill. But once you get the hang of it, it's super fun. It's based on a physical plus lightning build-up, sort of like static energy. And again, this weapon's electricity is used to pass mirror mazes or lightning portals. All the weapon's utilities aren't just for combat, but also interacting with the world around it. Silksong does this pretty decently, but Blasphemous takes it to a whole other level. This isn't to shit on Silksong, but to raise awareness for something just as unique. Blasphemous was made by an indie studio, with the leads being Michael Ortega, the combat designer, Enrique Cabeza, the creative director, and Enrique Colinet, the level designer. The prequel of the game was launched in 2016. The idea turned into a successful Kickstarter since then, but the sequel came out 2 years ago, and it elevated the game in every possible way, yet never gaining the attraction it deserved. Don't get me wrong, both Hollow Knight and Blasphemous 2 transformed the storytelling world of Metroidvanias with their art. But for some reason, Blasphemous 2 still gets swept under the rug, which is another reason why I think the game's heavily underrated. The artwork. The world of Cvstodia is soaked in Spanish Catholic imagery. You've got grotesque iconography and guilt-driven mythology, with the most beautiful 2D pixel art that doesn't even feel like it's 2D. Nothing else in the genre looks or feels like it. NPCs don't tell you stories, they confess, they speak in riddles of sin, devotion, and repentance. You never get exposition, only allegory. Even the item descriptions are a form of storytelling. A bloodied veil tells you who wore it. A cracked rosary bead reveals a lost faith. Lore is hidden in relics, murals, and even the way enemies die. It genuinely feels like a world that's moving beyond grief into a desperate search for meaning. When it comes to setting the theme, I think Blasphemous 2 really created something sacrilegious and unforgettable. Now, Silksong is no lightweight in this either. Both of these games bring something really amazing into the genre with their combat, art styles, and thematic expressions. But Blasphemous 2, in my opinion, doesn't get commended nearly enough for how genre-defining it is. But what do you guys think? Comment down below and ponder on that.